Here's my explanation on why I think Hello Neighbor 3 might actually work. But before we get in that, let's do a little recap of Hello Neighbor 1 and 2, and we'll talk about how Hello Neighbor 3 could be a masterpiece. And maybe some patch 10 news. Now, Hello Neighbor 1. Yes, I know, it was a failure, and it had a lot of potential going for it, with some scrapped ideas that were actually pretty good and would have made this game a good game when it was fully out. However, a lot of people only praise this game for the story and the concept. And while a lot of people enjoyed the first three alphas, Alpha 3 wasn't really the best. As a matter of fact, it was frustrating. I mean, the house was massive, the puzzles were harder, the atmosphere was darker, and there was just too much parkour to go around for such a horror game. And as if things couldn't get worse, Alpha 4 rolled around and everything was just not even scary anymore. I mean, it was just too cartoony and, it was just a bit more colorful. Then they released 3 betas, in which the first 2 were basically Alpha 4, but with additional cutscenes. And yeah, the full game released with such heavy hate. Though after this flop, they decided to continue this franchise with a prequel, a multiplayer spinoff, and a sequel too. Even an upcoming third game. Now, moving on to Hello Neighbor 2. Basically, this started off with a code from Secret Neighbor. Specifically, they needed an 80 number code. Yeah, that's right, an 80 number code. Yeah, they had to go back to a certain location 20 times in order to fill out this humongous code on some kind of URL from an unknown website. Now, I don't really feel like going into too much detail about this, but if you want to know more, just check out Sheep Rampage's video on this because, he explains this a lot more clearly. Now, after doing this, they would be led into a new game called Hello Guest. In other words, a new Hello Neighbor game in the main game series. Now, this build was in its prototype stage, and even though it was still cartoony, the atmosphere was spot on with the creepiness and horrorness, and even the main antagonist being the guest. Then, in June of 2020, we got the official alpha for Hello Guest, which was, a little bit better than the prototype, in my opinion, because, there was more textures, there was, more additional cutscenes, and, it just felt like there was, a bit more story to know. Then the alphas of Hello Neighbor 2 rolled around, with Alpha 1 having the idea of breaking into the neighbor's house with the guest taking over, saving the neighbor from the attic, and yeah, that's pretty much all that's left. Alpha 1.5 is basically the same thing, except it's Halloween themed, the house is more remodeled, and instead of saving the neighbor, you save the trick-or-treaters from the attic. So far, the game was pretty much looking promising, although these were just alphas, so we couldn't really know if it was going to get any better or worse from there, because apparently the first game kind of followed that, same tactic, where the alphas are much more better than the full game. Yeah, apparently that the same thing kind of happened when the beta rolled around, because apparently the game started to receive some hate because of how different the art style looked. And to me, the map didn't really feel all that open world despite it being a huge map, but then again, it's just condensed. I mean, the only thing I'm praising this game for is, that there's more neighbors and, just we have more story going around still, even though it's not even the full game, obviously. However, a few months later, they released a gameplay demo to show off how the game is going to be looking when the full game releases, and when the full game released, it was disappointing. However, it was a massive improvement over the first. Now, let me put all of this into short terms. Hello Neighbor 1 would have been a good game if the developers would actually listen to what the fans loved and hated. And Hello Neighbor 2 would have been a good game if Nikita wasn't replaced by you-know-who. Alright, now I'll be explaining why I think Hello Neighbor 3 could be a masterpiece and some minor patch 10 updates. Now, there's not going to be much that I'm going to be explaining, but I'll try to think of as much as I can. So, apparently, Nikita confirmed that he won't be leaving this game and that there will be no art style changes with this realistic art style, even though for some reason Steam says it's cartoony. He also admits that the first game was not really fully envisioned from what people have wanted, and that, he made some mistakes with the first game, and that he's hoping to make this third game a lot better than any other Hello Neighbor game we've played. Though I would show you the proof if I'm a Discord person, and which, as of right now, I am not. Alright, now for some minor patch 10 news. Now, from user Noxified, he said that there's going to be more info on Hello Neighbor 2 patch 10 when the next devlog for Hello Neighbor 3 rolls out. Yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say, but I don't really know, but apparently it said it on Discord according to him. And yeah, like I said, I'm not really a Discord person, so you might as well just, go on Discord to see for yourself. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. All right, well, I'm gonna get out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.